2003 SL500 R230 chassis. This is gonna be a little bit cumbersome videos because I'm not making videos in order. It's just that I started to troubleshoot the issue and this is where I ended up. So I know I'm gonna put it all back together. It's not gonna be recorded. So anyway, this is the solenoid block from the hydraulic unit. It's a pump for, hydraulic pump unit, and solenoid block for convertible top operation. Now, the reason I'm here doing this, checking it out, is because we have all these solenoids, and basically the solenoids had to be checked out. And the problem I have with this unit is that even before I went there, before I even went to check up on this particular solenoid block, I checked the pump because I thought the pump is weak because the roof is not moving at all, like totally, just absolutely nothing. Pump works, roof, no reaction. Then I went to check up on solenoids and they seem to be checked out, but I had two solenoids that were not clicking loud enough. So by mean of loud, this is how this one sounds. This one was very, very quiet, pretty much seized up. It's fine now, but this one I can't do really much. Humongous improvement from what it was, but it's still kind of quiet to my taste. But it's much better, much stronger. I feel it. At least I feel activation. Valve block and pump are both together again. I just ran the pump for a little bit so I get some fluid come out the valve block here, so we know that more or less this portion is primed. So now it's time to put it back into the car. Okay, another addition here. So we did replace a piston here, front piston, but for the life of me I could not get anything to work. I got solenoids freed up, they click nice now, resistance fine, everything's fine. They do click when I activate the roof, no error messages at all. And I did boost the pump and boosted solenoids separately just to get some sort of reaction, nothing. So I went back down into the pump. I took it all apart. I took out pistons, replaced O-rings and pistons. I mean, these are the O-rings, but they didn't seem to be a problem. Motor is perfectly fine. And then at the very end, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking to myself, this cannot be so difficult. I mean, this is just a regular piston pump. I mean, they're just much simpler than like ABC pump or something. So then I realized that here's the cover that sits on top of the pump. This is the actual suction line. So suction happens here. These are just bypasses on the other side, and one of them should be the return actually into the tank when there is too much pressure. There's supposed to be this little valve here that appears to be a pressure valve. It goes like this. So too much pressure bypasses back into the reservoir, and this is what I saw. If you look closely, there is a gap. You see there is a gap here. As you can see how this line is deformed, and there is a gap on the other side. So what makes me think now, right here, so what I'm thinking is it basically bypasses. So it tries to, okay, so the situation here is that from what I understand, I'm not a pump rebuilder or anything like that, but taking this all apart seems like this is how it works. There is a supply opening here. So this thing spins around, puts the fluid into this rim right here, right around here, right? So two O-rings. So this is basically our supply. There is a one-way check valve into the inner piston. Lets fluid in, does not let fluid out back. And then there is a little piston, it pushes into the pump, and then the pressure is created, right? So it feeds it to this portion now, the pressure. But from what I noticed, when I jumped the pump, I saw lots of air around this brim right here. So that made me think that, okay, there's not enough fluid going in. And most likely it is because when this particular cover is not sealing well here, then it pumps the fluid, but it pumps it right back out into the reservoir instead of pushing it into the opening. Because even with the O-ring, there is still a gap. I thought to myself, okay, O-ring will do this job, right? So it's gonna seal it off. But even with O-ring installed, there is still a gap. There's a big gap here on both sides. So that's basically my take. So it's late night again. It's well, not super late, but 10 p.m. and I'm still not having pressure to go into where I need the pressure to go. Right now, this is the solenoid block, and I do have pressure come out port 100. Port 100 is roll bar down port, but 102, 103, these two ports, they're supposed to unlock the roll bar, and these do not get pressure. When I activate the pump, we have 1, 2, 3. These are 3 inlets on the solenoid block, and on the pump we have 3 outlets here. Well, at least one's supposed to be a return, so I mean, yeah, understandable. But when I activate the pump, most pressure comes out from this port. When I block this port, then pressure comes out this port. This port goes directly to this opening goes directly into the port 100, and a port that gives most pressure right at the activation, it goes over here and it's blocked. There is like some sort of a blockage to it. So this is I'm still trying to figure out how this thing works, because I mean, this port right here seems to be a return, because when I activate it, then I have most of these solenoids outlets, they start giving out air. So I just try to do all my tests with air, not hydraulic. Alright, so I'll move into it. I mean, you know, I'll work on it still and see if I can figure this out.